What's up, guys? I'm Benji,
And Miles.
and you're tuned in to The Proper Fit.
Yes, people. So, our topic for this episode is fitness, family, and work. Get the balance right.
Awesome. We've also got a little bit of a throwback for our tune of the time this episode,
We're going to move into a special segment, an interview around the topic.
and we bring you our Uncle Benj section where we allow you to send in your dilemmas, and I do my best to give you some advice around those dilemmas.
Yes, indeed. And to finish off our PFT for this episode, our proper fit tip.
Good job. So let's get into it. You're tuned into The Proper Fit. So, Miles, this episode's topic is fitness, family, and work,
Yes.
getting the
Yes, yes,
balance.
yes.
So, I guess those three things, which is most important?
The most important, purely depends on what type of person you are. Are you a family person? If you don't like your family, you might be more fitness to work. But on a serious note, it's not. I don't think the question should be what's most important, because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, all three should matter.
Yeah,
You need to stay fit and healthy for your family, and so that you can work. Um, you want to stay family orientated so that you have a reason to work and you have a reason for fitness, and you got to work to make money. So the most important, there is no most important. It's more about having a balance,
yeah, yeah,
finding something, finding a way to kind of keep the balance in your life so that all three complement each other the whole way through.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I think, it's the toughest thing is finding that balance, and we all need to figure out how to do it for ourselves, because we all have our different challenges. Our lives are, completely different to the next person. I guess that's the next question we can kind of ask. Like, what do you think? How do you think we can achieve the balance?
I think you're right, like 100%. I think we all need to achieve that balance. And I think everybody has different ways to do that. Everybody's life, timetable, restrictions, freedom, everybody has a different perspective, you know? And I think, I guess one of the global things that is for everybody to do is to really just sit back and look at what is actually possible. Like, weigh up the most perfect scenario that you can in your mind. So, in a perfect scenario, I would be able to do this, this, and this. That would be if you had unlimited hours in the day and unlimited energy and unlimited money. Like, start from there. Like, what is my absolute like perfection in terms of a timetable that makes me feel like me? And then apply some real life, right? Just start to take away and say, well, right, I would love to work out 7 days a week, but in terms of my body, that's probably not the best thing. So therefore, how many times a week do I need to actually work out? And that's going to take sort of consultation with a fitness professional, someone that's going to tell you, actually, for your goals, this is absolutely what you need to be doing. Of course, we have the government guidelines and the Department of Health guidelines for movement, and those should always be adhered to. But it's also important then to consult someone that's a trained professional that knows your goals, that can really give you some of the specifics around how many times a week you need to be training and the type of training. That's number one. And there you can create your timetable for workout. In terms of family, in terms of friends, it's got to be about what makes you happy. Ultimately, most of us have to go to work to earn a living. So we realize that actually, unless you run your own business, which is tough too, somebody else probably dictates to you the time that you spend at work. So there may not be much that you can do around that, which puts a greater emphasis on you taking control of your fitness timetable, because that is something that you can control. It's something that's for you, something that's going to make you feel better. And that ultimately, when you feel better, your performance at work will be better and your family will get a better version of you. Then the final piece of the jigsaw then is family, getting that mixture of family and working out and getting your own time. And that is down to you as an individual. You know how much time you can spend around your family, without getting agitated, without getting frustrated. But then things like the online workouts are the types of things that you can almost start to build into your timetable without feeling like you're taking away from your family or having that guilt of leaving your son or daughter to be put to bed by somebody else while you go out and work out, because actually having the ability to do it in your own home means that you spend more time at home, so you can still fulfill those roles as a parent without feeling guilty.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of feeds into that whole premise of get fitness to fit into your lifestyle rather than get your lifestyle to fit into fitness.
Yeah,
You know, like
totally.
find ways to make it a part of what you do and make it a part of who you are rather than trying to bend to the will of working out. Because
Yeah.
I think that's a big part. That's a big part of why people fail quite a lot when they're trying to work out, when they're trying to get healthier, when they're trying to change their body. They see, they see what they think exercise has to be. You know, you're in the gym
Hmm.
2 hours every time, 6 days a week. You may even do double sessions in a day and all this kind of stuff. And of course, that's great if you can do it. That's great, but
Mm.
it's just not feasible. So
No,
yeah,
no.
I think that's really powerful. If you can find a way to fit it in, online workouts are a great way of doing that because you don't have to leave your home. Um, More often than not, they're short and sweet, and you can fit them into
Yeah.
your own schedule.
So I guess that moves us on to our tune of the time. And we've got a little bit of a throwback. This is a track by an artist called C4, and this is Own Thing.
I am a choosing and I'm on my own thing, doing my own thing, doing my own thing, doing my own thing tonight. I'm on my own thing, doing my own thing, doing my own thing, doing my own thing tonight. I'm on my own thing, doing my own thing.
Love that tune. Big tune, man. You know what? Completely accidental, but that being called my own thing and being what it's about fits in perfectly to this episode. So, we're going to move into our interview section for this episode. And of course, it's lovely to hear everything that Miles and I have got to say. But actually, it's good to get some other people for you to listen to. And given that the topic is around that work life balance and being able to fit fitness, family, and work into one kind of way of living, I think it would be really good to listen to someone that's actually worth listening to. And I don't think there's anyone better for us to listen to than former Choice FM and also Galaxy and Capital Breakfast Show and Drive Time Radio host Dan Kelly. So, Dan,
I
how are you, man?
I'm good, thank you. I paid Benji to say all that for anyone curious.
No, it's been a while, bro. From days of DJing and
It has, isn't it?
so how have you been keeping? I think one thing that we're trying to really nail down in this episode is how to balance things. But I think for everybody, that's become particularly challenging during this lockdown period. And it'd just be interesting to get someone else's perspective on sort of how lockdowns treated them and how they've sort of coped over this last sort of 12 to 13 weeks.
It's crazy when you put it that way, isn't it? 12 to 13 weeks, 3 months,
Yeah.
quarter of a year. Can you remember what life was like before?
It feels so distant, doesn't it?
I think the best way that I've found with it is you just have to go with the flow. It's one of those. Just
Yeah.
everything's different. And the best thing is, the way I saw it, it's different for everybody. So one thing I've used this time for, and there's been actually quite a few changes in lockdown just through pure coincidence, but
Yeah.
I saw it as a good opportunity. And the best way I can describe it is it's like hitting Control Alt Reset on your brain, on your life, and just reboot
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And any changes that you needed to make in your life, this was the time to do it because the whole country, the whole world was in chaos and upheaval. And, the body doesn't like change, the mind doesn't like change. And it's something
Yeah.
which takes a bit of effort. So to do it at a time where everything is unstable, you may have been furloughed, you may have had, your kids running around under your feet. You may have had both of those going on at the same time. So I saw it
Yeah.
as a good opportunity to start any new projects, make any significant changes in your life. The ones that you always are in the back of your head and you keep putting them off. I thought this was
Yeah.
a superb time to do it. And if anyone is listening while this is going out and it hasn't really, making any decisions like that yet, I haven't done anything drastic. And it's also
Yeah.
not too late because we still are in this weirdness. I know, there might be a further
Exactly.
lockdown. Have you seen the pictures of the beaches this week? What the hell?
No comment.
Man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like,
I think it's been, there's physical fitness, but mental fitness is just as important, I think. And they go hand in hand,
exactly.
don't they? One of the things I
Yeah.
enjoy about working out is just how you feel about yourself, not necessarily how you look, but how you feel.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think a lot of people look at things like tiredness and bad mood as reasons not to work out.
Yeah, it's true.
But actually, they're probably the moments when you really do need to, you know?
And it's just that discipline as well, isn't it? I mean, it's the oldest cliche, I think, in working out. It's half the battle is just getting in there, but it's so true. We want to design how you even do your fitness programs, and whether it's getting out. Oh, thankfully, the weather's been beautiful, hasn't it? Or doing it in the house. Or are you? What'd you make of Joe Wicks, Benji? How come you're not rivaling him? Come on, get on your daily. Come on.
Just for the people listening, Dan knows me very well, so he's trying to bait me here and set me up to be able to say exactly what I think. You know what? Hats off to the guy. He's done something.
I'll be honest with you. My wife's got more pictures of him in our house than she has of me because of all of his chuffing books. I see his face everywhere. And I'm like, what about us?
You know what? I mean, he's done something. And I think in terms of getting people sort of engaged and giving people something to do, I think it's been fantastic. All of the other bits and pieces, the goody two shoes stuff, is fantastic marketing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think he's done really well with that too. The interesting points, actually, kind of on the Joe Wicks thing, is that the fact that he's obviously marketed it around engaging children.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of sort of my listeners, engaging and educating their children has been one of the toughest things through lockdown. Now, you've got young children, of course, and work incredibly hard too. How have you found it with the kids, and how have you found it sort of educating the children from home yourself? What are your sort of successes and failures so far with that?
But I think that was the masterstroke for the Joe Wicks thing, wasn't it? Just targeting the kids, because for the parents, it was like, brilliant, stick them in front of that. We've got half an hour off and then they'll be knackered afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got two girls. I've got well, she was 7 at the start of lockdown. She's since turned 8, so she had a lockdown birthday on Zoom, which actually.
Did you do the whole shebang? Like, did you go and get balloons and bring the ice cream van to the house, and did you do all of that?
We had some balloons in the house and tied them up
Yeah.
to the back of the chair before she went on her Zoom and everything. And the best bit about that with the kids' party was she didn't have to clean up afterwards. All the other kids,
exactly, and there was no vomit on the carpet or anything.
That would just mine. But yeah, and so that's one of my daughters. My other girl is 3, so obviously no school and no nursery, so they've been in the house. My wife has been working from home. Now, I was lucky enough to be able to get out of the house because I was still doing my radio show.
To escape.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to do the show from home, but logistically it was a bit of a nightmare. It was difficult trying to do a radio show with kids running in and out all the time. So I kept going to the studio. So obviously that was my break. I see.
I mean, I think that kind of brings us nicely round, to be fair, into kind of what it's been like for you in terms of trying to work out during this time. There's been the balance of work, which, as you've said, hasn't changed too much for you. The balance of family, and then how have you genuinely found it trying to work out? Have you struggled, and what's been your experience through this time in terms of trying to keep the pounds off? Everyone's talking about the COVID stone.
Yeah.
How has it been for you? Balancing all of those things.
Well, I'm one of those. It's one of the other ones. I tend to lose weight if I don't work out. It's one of those, so like tone wise and stuff like that. So, although I'm in my 40s now, so I imagine that will change. But it's been hard. Haven't, to be honest, over the last year or so, been able to work out as much as at the level I once was able to when I was really, like about 5 years ago. I was in the best shape of my life. I'm not too bad. Probably about 12, 13 weeks hard work, away from that, I think, because you tick over, don't you? I don't eat bad.
Yes.
I can't cook. One thing I've been doing loads of during lockdown, and I've always enjoyed cooking, but I've just been going next level. Before I leave in the morning, I
Yeah.
literally just marinating like meat the night before, leave it overnight. I'm getting up and I've had my breakfast, have some porridge and some eggs, and I'm just cooking for like 3 hours, taking loads
Yeah.
of stuff to the radio station with me. I don't care about the
Mhm.
show. It's just like, oh, when's my next banquet?
Where's your
Just like
next meal?
lots like, because I'm a fan of that, just graze throughout the day, so I'll have like
Yeah.
seven,
Yeah.
8 tiny meals.
Yeah.
But like that. But in terms of actual workouts, it's you start noticing yourself doing funny things, like the
Uh-huh.
microwave in the kitchen at work, and in fact the microwave in the kitchen in the house. It's on like the
Mhm.
corner of a right angle of the two worktops, so it's perfect
Yeah.
while it's microwaving. You can put your hand on each side and do a few dips. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
Tricep dips.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, tricep dips, and I was mowing the lawn. I think I told you this on the
Yeah.
phone the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And mowing the lawn, and obviously everyone's been mowing the lawn like every day because the
Yeah.
weather's been nice and it was something to do, wasn't it? All you could smell for the first 2 weeks of lockdown was fresh grass cuttings
Just
where I
fresh
live.
grass.
Yeah, in Birmingham. But yeah, even just something as simple like, right, okay, so when I'm going up the garden, I'm going to
Yeah.
tense my stomach as hard as I can and then relax it when I'm coming back down, and things like that.
Yeah.
Just whether it has any effect, but I guess it's better than doing nothing.
A lot of people are struggling at the moment with both balancing
Yeah,
sort of working at home, getting workouts in, and also things like social media at the moment. There's a lot going on, across the world, and we're all cooped up inside for the majority of the hours of the day, and so it kind of brings a focus to actually doing something. And people are more, increasingly scrolling through their phone on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff that you can
yeah.
see and information that you consume can be quite overwhelming. So, I mean, what would you say it would be kind of a couple of tips that you would give people right now in terms of balancing those things and making sure that they keep as fit as they can, mentally, as we alluded to earlier, and physically too.
Well, for a start with social media, I think you should have a rule, which is don't go on social media if you've had a couple of drinks. And everyone's having a couple of extra drinks at the minute because no one's leaving the
Mm,
house, are they? And then
yeah,
you go,
yeah,
right. And then you see something that you might disagree with. And before you know it, you're tapping away. um, yeah, I mean, it's obviously, look, what a year we've had, 2020. It's been a horrible year, and so many bad
yeah,
things going on, and which is
yeah,
why, and it's something I said at the start of this. I think the mental health, and it's something which has been part of the public consciousness as a narrative over the last few years, and I think
yeah,
sometimes people, get there's a cynical side to people where anyone expresses any sort of weakness, and it's, oh, you're just making it up. But I think
yeah.
mental health it doesn't always have to be extreme. There's mild versions of everything, and it's just
Yes,
making
totally.
sure that look, my lockdown's not been great. It's been, I mean, I got made redundant last week, so I'm leaving my radio show in. I've got 3 weeks left. So I thought I had, and the thing is with the radio presenter, we get paid per show. So I was
Yes.
expecting to be paid up until September. I'm only going to be getting paid until the end of July. So that's like, oh.
Yeah.
So I've started doing my own podcast, which actually started a week before I found out the news with my old
Yeah.
breakfast show team. So if anyone listening to this remembers me and Katie and a guy called Posh Ben on Galaxy and Capital, we've just done, I think it was episode 31 today. We do it. It's 20 minutes every day, and it's called Yesterday Today, where we just chat shit, really. I don't know if I can swear on it, but
No, it's a
it's,
fantastic show. It's a
yes,
fantastic show.
and it's on there. And I'll be honest with you, and I was saying this to the guys last night. I mean, that's been something which has really helped me through this because I've been really excited by it. We're not earning any money off of it yet, but I think
Yeah.
we all want to. And the beautiful thing is, we're doing something that we love doing. And when you love
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something, it makes it easier to want to get up and do it. And
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in the law of attraction. And
Yes.
whenever I have followed that rule in my life, it's normally led to a period of success. So
I
yeah,
think
just
one of
keep your
the
mind and your body fit, and just the
yeah.
simple things, isn't it? That you probably tell everyone every week: get the right amount of sleep. I don't get enough of that. I could probably do some more. Don't drink too much. I still
Yeah.
drink too much, but you have to regulate it. You can't be all or nothing
Yes,
because life doesn't work
definitely.
like that. Just when you're not doing it right. And
Yeah.
you can always improve 1% a day, and you improve 1% a day for 3 weeks, and that's 21% of you. It sounds daft when you put
Yeah.
it that way. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
simple, but
Yeah.
it can be done. And I feel mentally a lot better than I did at the
Yeah.
start of lockdown, despite the fact that during it, I've lost my job and my car broke down yesterday.
Your car broke down last night.
Yeah. So we were supposed to record this last night. And
Yeah.
it took me 4.5 hours to do a 40-minute journey. So, but you know what?
But you know,
I still went to bed with a smile on my face and woke up with one.
exactly,
No.
exactly. That's the awesome thing about it, and I think one of the really nice things to kind of round that off really is that in all that you've said, with regards to the new podcast being sort of your thing that's really brought you some joy, the really key thing in that, which is very similar to fitness as well, and this is one of the messages that I've been trying to really put across to my listeners over the last couple of weeks, is that you get up every single morning and you record that podcast. There's actually a structure and a routine around it. So you have those set
Yeah.
times that
And I need that in my life.
between,
I know I
and
need it. It doesn't necessarily mean I
between
like
this,
it, but yeah, I need it.
yeah, exactly. So you know that between this time and that time, this is what I'm going to be dedicated to doing. And there will no doubt be days where you don't feel like you're completely on fire or that you've completely nailed it, but you stay committed to that routine and that structure.
And the
And
days
then
that
the
you
fruit of
don't,
that,
the days that you don't feel like that, they're often the days that if you can just slog through it are the most rewarding at
yeah,
the end of it. And you're not going to do it every day.
exactly,
And you're not going to, I mean, there's
exactly.
days that you're not going to do it every day, but it's just try. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised.
Those most difficult moments are the ones where you achieve the most, actually. And if you can
Yeah,
pull through those most difficult moments
exactly.
and rely on structure and routine rather than emotion or inspiration, actually, that is the easiest way to make sure that you
Yeah,
continue
especially
successfully
with the emotion bit,
towards that
because I
journey.
believe sometimes and we all do it. It's just I think nature of the beast. Sometimes people enjoy the comfort that
Yeah,
struggle is, because you're
yeah,
used to it. You quite enjoy. You don't want to wallow. You don't want to be unhappy, but it feels that's an area that everyone has it, and it's like the eye of the storm, and you're in the middle of it, and it's peaceful around you, but everything else is a fucking whirlwind, and
yeah.
and it's easy to stay there than just try and climb out of it, isn't it, and get that
Yeah.
momentum.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, thank you for coming on and sharing with us today.
It's been an
And
absolute pleasure, Mr. Beasts, teacher sir. It's been lots of fun and good job so far. I've been listening to your podcast as well. So I'm very
Yeah, man.
impressed. It's a cracking job. So yeah, I wish you all the best with it and keep at it.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate that, bro. So that brings us into Uncle Ben's section, Miles.
Here it is. Cool. So, the same as always, this is an anonymous section. Anything that you would like to divulge in this section can remain anonymous. The more information,
As it often
right,
does.
because this is a dangerous section of the show. Anything,
Let's get it.
anything that you do add in only adds to the story, so it just gives us a little bit more context. So gender, how old you are. If you can add that in, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. But Uncle Benj, we have a dilemma on our hands. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready. I'm
All right,
listening.
here
Let's
we go.
go.
Here we go. Now don't laugh because I'm just gonna read it. All right. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing anything
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
But of course, I have to add drama to the reading. So
Okay. Okay.
right, I'm
Bring the
going to
drama. Bring the
emphasize
drama. I'm ready. I'm
certain
ready.
areas. Just it
Okay.
adds
Okay.
adds to the story. Okay. During lockdown, I've had a lot of time on my hands and got talking to a guy on Tinder. He looked amazing in his pictures. You hear that drama? You hear that? Amazing.
Amazing.
He looked amazing in his pictures and came across really well. I was taken by how much he messaged me. And so we went on a social distance date in the park. When I got there, I literally walked past him as he looks nothing like his pictures. I'd just like to note that there's also the surprised emoji right after nothing like his pictures. So he's now surprised. I really don't fancy him and don't want to see him again, but I've said too much over messages and he's already planned out a second date. What do I do? I'd also like to know, I said he or she because I wasn't sure of the gender, but then I've just seen that it is a female that we're talking about right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a female,
Cool.
it's a
Cool.
lady. She went on a date with a guy who looks nothing like his pictures. She don't want to go back out of him, but he's already started planning out the second date. Uncle Benj.
You made a rod for your own back. Like you got yourself in too deep, because if you've been saying stuff, getting all gassed over messages, you've set this guy up. This guy thinks, yeah, I'm in. Like, I've won.
So,
Yeah, you made a mistake there, girl.
but what can you
Serious.
do? But
You
what
know
can
what?
she do? She's on.
I mean,
She's using Tinder. It is what it is. Like you're not gonna. There's no way of looking deeper than a swipe right. So
yeah, good point. I mean, like, yeah, yeah, it's sticky. Sticky. Like, if you, these are the problems with using dating apps, because like all you've really got is like pictures, and most people don't put up their worst picture.
of
Let's face it.
course,
Like, people always try and show
why would you?
themselves in the
Why
best
would you?
light.
You know.
So exactly, unless you wanted people to really know
Show me
what you look like
you're selling a
and
cake.
recognize you when you
You're
meet them.
selling a cake and you put out the one that's got the worst frosting on it. Like what? No, no, no. I'm gonna put out the shiny frosted one with a cherry on top.
But you see that, but that's in
Yeah.
sales. That's in sales. Whereas like this is about like people seeing the real you. So
Yeah.
like I feel like it's like don't fake
I
it,
don't
man.
know.
Don't fake it.
In
Like
another respect, you could argue that this is also sales. You know, this is just this is sales.
selling.
This is sales in the market of love.
You see, I mean, she's decided she doesn't fancy him, but if you decided that you fancied him based on his pictures, then like you want to reevaluate that. And I guess okay, so he's messaging you loads. That's because he's on furlough. He's not working. Like that's not because like he's anything special. He's just on furlough. I'm sorry to put any guys on blast who have been like
They've
messaging
been
girls more
scheming. They've been
regularly during this
scheming,
time. I'm
and then they've
sorry. I'm
Uncle Ben's
sorry.
like, "Benji, what you doing? You're messing up the game, man. You're messing up."
You know what? I think honest Miles is gonna say that you should be honest. I'm not gonna say be honest. I'm gonna I'm gonna say, you know what? Just swerve him. I mean, two
Oh,
things you could do.
why?
If he really doesn't look like his
He's
pictures,
lying already.
then if he really doesn't look like his pictures, then you could just send a friend to the next date,
True.
because like that you don't have to look like your pictures
Oh my
either, you know.
days.
So like you could do that, but not like a completely different looking friend, you know, like the friend whose ID you used to borrow when you went out like clubbing illegally,
Just,
and you borrowed their
I'm,
ID, they were old enough. Send
I'm
that
just gonna
friend.
put this out
Send that
again,
one.
right? I think I've said this a good few times in an episode. Miles does not condone such actions. This is the advice of Uncle Benj. I'd like to put it out there.
The disclaimers.
I want to put it
Disclaimers.
out there for the jury in later issues that I know we're going to get into. Yes, this isn't me. What do you mean? How's she going? Nah, she can't do that, man. She can't
Nah.
do that.
Yeah. Well, if he's not who you know he appears to be, then yeah. And I think
Yeah.
you just say you're
I
busy.
think, yeah,
Just say
she's got to
like,
just swerve him,
just
innit?
put it off. Like, don't break his
Mm,
heart, because if you've gone in on messages telling him how great he looks, and you know how you want to see
yeah.
him and all of this stuff, then you're gonna look
Yeah.
like a bitch. Played your hand. So like, yeah.
No,
Oh
I
nah,
think you're right.
you're
I
in
think you're
trouble.
right. The only thing she can do now is just swerve him. You know, it's for the greater good.
I think we
I
solved that
think.
one. All right. Let us know how you get on. Let us know how you get on. Come back to us, and then let us know if we were
I just
completely
want to know
wrong.
how a social distance date goes now, to be honest. Like
Bluetooth high fives and stuff.
or a hand emoji as a shake. Just like to note that even though that Uncle Benj was about a social distance date, you could argue that this is actually very in line with the topic, you know, for family, work and fitness. Like, yeah,
Balance.
man, this isn't work, this isn't fitness, but hell, it could be a family one day. You never
Yeah,
know. You
and
never
yeah,
know. So
exactly.
this might be the way.
Providing they look the way you thought they did. That leads us on nicely to our proper fit tip. And for this week, the proper fit tip is
Switch off to the bullshit. You know
let's
what? I
hear it.
wasn't even ready for that drum roll. That was a serious drum roll. You got some new attributes, some new equipment in it.
Guys, I've genuinely got
My
drumsticks. I've
guy,
genuinely got like these pencil drumsticks like
my
ready for
guy,
it. Yeah.
coming in there, serious. Yes, PFT. Switch off to the bullshit. Yeah, this is a family program, so I'm not gonna swear, or at least we're gonna try not to most of the
Try.
time. Switch off to the bullshit. Um, so that sounds a little bit weird, but let me explain. We all have really hectic lives, and unfortunately, health and fitness can sometimes take a back seat because of that. Our lives are full of bullshit, um, and the one thing that we need to do is find ways to declutter our minds from all of this bullshit. And a great way to do that is to use exercise. So I don't know if you guys have ever like come across a person who said, "Oh, I just need to get to the gym because I just need to just clear my head." Or I don't know if
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if people actually do that. If the people that are listening, if you guys actually do that, if you know someone, I personally do that quite a lot. Benji, I don't know about you, but I do this quite a lot, and
Yeah, man.
it really is um, it's a really quick and efficient way of just clearing your head and allowing you
Yeah.
to deal with more bullshit in the future. But if you don't find ways to clear, if we don't find ways to clear our head to find a certain sense of escapism, all that bullshit
Yeah.
just keeps cluttering and cluttering and cluttering our heads and building up, and it just causes us more stress in the long run. So this is in line with our topic, finding balance. This is another way of clearing out the junk that almost off kind of creates an imbalance. So yeah,
Yeah.
we need to find some kind of escapism. Even if fitness isn't your escapism, we still need to find ways to switch off to the bullshit. So be it meditation, be it a little
Reading,
reading, a stroll.
going for
Yeah,
a walk.
exactly.
Yeah,
Going up for a walk in the
definitely.
woods. Hell, if you're a gamer, you can be a gamer for a little bit. Just make sure you're not doing it for hours and hours and hours and eating really bad food, because that's against what we believe in. But whatever you need to do, switch off to the bullshit. Once you've
Love it.
completed that, the results, the mindset, the work ethic that we're all looking for will be found.
Switch off to the
There you go.
bullshit.
There you
Love
go.
it. I think that's a perfect way to round off this episode. So, thank you for that dilemma. Once again, keeping us entertained and very emotionally invested in the
Oh, of
episode.
course,
So,
of
yeah.
course.
Don't forget, guys, if you love what you've heard or don't, please share it on. Let people know about what you've heard and what you think about what you've heard. Remember, you can follow us on our Facebook page at Proper Fit Podcast or
Our Instagram handle is Core Attack, spelled Coreattack.
Fab. So, all that remains to say is I'm Benji,
And I'm Miles.
and you've been tuned in to The Proper Fit.